Ann Coulter joins us now. Ann Coulter, of course, author of Every Book You Need to Read and Keep on Your Shelf. And this week's column is, you promised us Wednesday that when you rewrote it that it was a great column, and it really is.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
It turned out to be true.
Yeah.
The title is The Transcripts We'd Really Like to See, and the transcript I want to see is of Nancy Pelosi reading the transcript of the Ukrainian call.
Yes.
Because even allowing for a degree of Trump hyperbole, the call actually is perfect.
Yeah.
It actually is beautiful, and it's very bad for the Democrats. And, notice that, listeners. I didn't watch a lot of MSNBC last night, but in the parts I saw, it's quite striking that not only are they not suggesting that anyone read the transcript, not reading from the transcript, not highlighting the passages that they find problematic. No, their new thing is just to create imaginary dialogues with themselves. I'm sure your listeners have heard endlessly about Adam Schiff.
Oh, yes.
Him just inventing a dialogue.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. And then last night on Rachel Maddow, she had a pretty, long little riff on, well, what if Trump were to shoot the whistleblower? and Bill Barr did nothing. What would we do then? I have a joke along those lines in Resistance is Futile, because we've gone through this so many times where we get a week of coverage based on a liberal dream sequence. They start with the proposition, well, what if? So I say, okay, this is like, and what if Donald Trump robbed a bank? Then we could impeach him, right?
Right.
They are actually doing that now.
And the one thing that I thought might be an upside of this whole thing here is that finally people start talking about CrowdStrike. I love that Trump told him to investigate CrowdStrike. It's brilliant. So here's the thing. I just did a Google search on the news tab about CrowdStrike. Let me read you the headlines. The CrowdStrike conspiracy. Trump mentioned the CrowdStrike conspiracy. What is the CrowdStrike conspiracy theory? It's all. Can you please, I think you go into this in your column, CrowdStrike, this is not a conspiracy. This is a very real thing.
No, this is the cybersecurity firm that launched the entire Russia nonsense, also described in Resistance is Futile. Normally when I write a book, well, it's not normally about current events, but if you write a book about current events, you'd think, well, you got to read it now, but if you don't read it in the first 6 months, everybody's moved on, all new stories. Nope. Not with Resistance is Futile. You could watch Rachel Maddow tonight and compare it to an episode a year ago, a year before that. It's always the same thing. So, yeah, of course, CrowdStrike is covered in Resistance is Futile. You will recall the reason Hillary had to invent a true conspiracy, the Russians did it, was when the DNC's emails were hacked. There are two different scandals involving emails and Hillary Clinton. One are the thousands of emails she, quote, lost. Not those emails. Right. These are the emails showing the DNC conspiring against Bernie Sanders, commenting on his Jewish heritage, sneering at him. Democrats were going absolutely mental. They were furious with the DNC, furious with Hillary. They were worried what else was going to come out on WikiLeaks. And as Hillary always does, also described in Resistance is Futile, when she's caught in a scandal, she rushes out and says, no, the real scandal is, that's where we came up with the wonderful phrase vast right-wing conspiracy. When the Monica Lewinsky story broke, she went on the Today Show and actually instructed reporters. You're supposed to be a little more subtle, Democrats. She said, for any reporter looking for the real story here, it's that there's a vast right-wing conspiracy that's been conspiring against my husband. I have many other examples of this. Well, okay, this time with the emails she needed to cover up quickly, it's not a vast right-wing conspiracy. It's a Russian conspiracy. And luckily, I have Nexus. At the time, the New York Times, the L.A. Times, New York Newsday, the entire liberal firmament laughed at Hillary's claim that it was the Russians that had hacked the DNC. They laughed about it. They sneered about it. It was only after Trump won the election that suddenly they bring back the Russia thing. Well, why did they care about the Russia thing? Because the only cybersecurity firm that was allowed to see the DNC's servers was CrowdStrike, backed by, co-founded by a Ukrainian and funded by a Ukrainian billionaire. So isn't that curious that this entire Russia hysteria The FBI was prohibited from seeing the DNC servers. This entire Russian hysteria was started by a Ukrainian cybersecurity firm. Yeah, I think a lot of Americans would like to know a little more about these fanatically anti-Russian Ukrainians.
And by the way, last I checked, when Trump was a candidate and running, he said he was going to look into all this. He said he was going to, investigate these things that have always been overlooked, and he's actually doing what he told us he was going to do. I was happy to read that transcript. Thank you. You're doing what you said you were going to do. It's more I can say than for the wall.
To try to hide it from you, so go look it up. It'll only take you 2 minutes to read.
And I only got about a minute left here, but I know you get frustrated with the president. He doesn't do what you would hope he would do and use the tactics you would hope he would use. How is he handling this in your mind? What do you think he should be doing on this as the impeachment process proceeds?
I think he's probably being pretty great. I mean, one of the things that I've always liked about Trump and still like, and I wish other Republicans would pick up on it, is that he fights back. That's something. That's all new for a Republican. Usually my objection to it is I want him fighting back when he starts, building the wall and they attack him. He's usually his best at fighting back when it's something involving only him and not the country.
Yeah.
This ridiculous impeachment of him is going to affect the country. I also want to say, don't be alarmed if he gets impeached. Don't make bets on whether he'll be impeached. I was probably on your radio show saying that 1 month after the Democrats take the House, they're going to impeach him. I can't believe they've taken this long.
Yeah. I giggled at you when you said that, but I should have learned back then. Don't giggle at Ann Coulter's predictions. The book is Resistance is Futile, How the Trump-Hating Left Lost Its Collective Mind. I love all your books. It's usually not the one I go to, but since you referred to it 7 times in this interview, let's close out with it. Ed, have a great weekend. Enjoy yourself. Thanks for joining us.
You too. Good to talk to you.
We'll talk to Ann again next Friday at 4, because that's what we do. It's Fridays at 4. It's Ann Coulter. See you.